Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the overall concept of weaponization of words and phrases and images in order to separate society into a morally superior class and a morally inferior class, and the way that that's done. And it's very much a globalist gig to put that on us, but it's used to great effect. Just I'll give you the simple version, and we'll go into a bit more here as the essay goes on. But the simple version is, if you vote for Trump, you're a Nazi, or that sort of thing. Or if you don't think this way or do that, then you're in favour of, you're Hitler. You're personally responsible for the Holocaust. On it goes. And you can see it either other levels. Like if there's not a grocery store within 250 meters or yards of where you live, then you can claim that you live in a food desert. It's a desert, nothing. You can never eat again. So there's a lot of sort of concoction and drama, combination of imagery, but the source of it, or the root of it, is changing the meaning of words and phrases. So it could be, if you protest an election that is extremely dubious in how it was conducted, if you protest that or disagree with it, then you are launching an insurrection. You're trying to overthrow the government because you're Hitler. Now, this is examples of how words and phrases are changed. So a protest about dodgy election tactics and management becomes, no, it's not a protest, it's an insurrection. It's a taking over of the government, and the full force of the law must be used, politicized law, that is. And so we see examples all around us of this, but we've become, I think, rather numbed to it. But if we're going to give a sort of a more clinical explanation of how it works, then it's some people have described this as the weaponization of empathy, to try and create empathy where you take the side of the person that's telling the lies because of how they weaponize this empathy is really say a victim group is either invented or manufactured, whether it exists or not, or whether it's determined on the basis of unequal outcomes. And that then is taken by another group, and they've pre-planned this. There's nothing organic or natural about it. So they create this victim group, and then they say, well, look at those poor people over there being oppressed. It just so happens their oppressors are always straight white males. I mean, whoa, wouldn't you know it? So they use the supposed, victimization or suffering of this group that they've invented. They've either invented the group or invented the suffering, or both. And then they use that to assert, well, we're protecting them. We're looking out for the oppressed ones. So we automatically are morally superior. We have a right to do what we're doing because we're protecting them against them. See those evil ones over there? They're the cause of these people suffering, and we're going to stop that. We're going to stop the evil ones. That's what we're doing. We have moral superiority here. And so with that moral superiority, they can coerce, threaten the supposed other group, the ones that are causing the alleged source of the victimization, into compliance with different usage of language. So, for example, in the workplace, all men are sexually harassing, rapist, misogynist, patriarchal Nazis, and they must be treated as such. They must be treated with extreme levels of prejudice, because all of them are that way. Didn't you know that we've got anecdotal? Didn't you know that there's a woman, and we can't name her, we can't say when and where it happened. There's a woman who claimed that she was grabbed on the ass 50 million times every fucking day by those damn Nazis. And that's it. Oh, wow. Okay. So the whole language, the imagery, the human interaction is all weaponized to create this insane set of emotional dynamics and imagery to push this extremely prejudicial thing that always ends up that it's straight white men who've done the terrible things, and they must be protected by the morally superior group. And the morally superior group then, because these straight white males are just so beyond, but so evil, they don't really deserve legal rights. No, they don't deserve legal rights because they are so evil. They're responsible for all of it. All the wickedness in the world is them. They did it. They caused it, whether it's 500 years ago or today or 5 minutes ago. And this is how language and imagery and the use of language has changed. So if an emotional language is used, so if a few dead frogs are found in a certain area, then the frogs are being genocided. And so they go, it's now the word genocide is being misused here, but because it's such an emotive term, because it'll make heads turn, and because it's such a ginning up of whatever the reality may be, it manages to get headlines and so on. So the idea of having to rise above the noise means you have to gin up the numbers. So if one woman has her ass grabbed in the workplace, then you have to say that 1 million women have their ass grabbed in the workplace. If one woman gets raped, then you have to say there were 1 million rapes, because then it's ginned up, and that then bestows the protectors with a certain moral superior power and moral superiority to coerce, intimidate, and threaten the others. The issue here is how they can then impose a regime supposedly designed to protect the oppressed, but the oppressed don't exist. There is no oppression. But they're able to then impose this. So now all straight white men I see it. I know I'm not in a big corporation now, so it's nearly all men that I work with for the day, unless I'm going out onto the to see the customer or the client on site or in their office. But I'm very, very cautious. I don't like being in a room alone with a woman, because all she has to do is say that I did something or said something or even made an inappropriate utterance, and that can be enough, because the way the language and the prejudice is being ginned up is all women are under threat from all men, and particularly straight white men. It's the power imbalance. They're all Hitler and so on. So I'm always quite cautious, and if there's any doubt in my mind about if the woman's mentally unbalanced, I'll switch on the recorder. So I've got a recording of the. I've suggested to my colleagues they do this as well. Some are already doing it. I didn't need to suggest it. Now now you have to keep these recordings for quite a while, because in 6 months' time, any time almost, but in months' time, months after the event, the woman can come up and say, well, he said this or did this, or grabbed my ass or something. So you have to be very, very cautious. I don't like it when the woman wants to close the door. Now, it may be for a valid reason, it needs to be confidential, but I have to be completely satisfied that she's not mentally unbalanced. Now, if she's got a job not through affirmative action but through achievement and accomplishment, then I'm safer. But if she's an affirmative action appointment, a diversity, equity, inclusion appointment, and she's done some gender studies course, then I'm already on high alert and responding. And no, I'd rather can't we sit out here and have that conversation? I'd rather do it where there's plenty of people around, and it protects me from being falsely accused. It's much harder for anyone to do that. And also to avoid an entrapment situation, which in big organisations, especially if the company wants to for whatever the reason, terminate the contract with us, but there's a penalty clause where they have to pay us out a decent sum of money. They don't want to pay out the sum of money, and they don't want any to use any make good provisions. They've changed their mind. They want to do something different. It doesn't matter the reason, but they want to end the contract, but they don't want to do it under the terms of the contract. So they have to try and invent something. They have to invent. There was an issue with one of your subcontractors or whatever grabbed a woman's ass. So they do these setup things, and it's quite widespread tactics in big corporations to do this. Try and set someone up to try and entrap them into saying something or doing something inappropriate, and then using that against them to say, well, we can take this to court, or you can. We won't pay you what we owe you. So I'm very mindful of that, and I'm the type of guy who would take it to court. So that probably I'm the wrong guy to do that to. But nonetheless, these are the sort of things. This is how the weaponization process takes place. But how then intimidated. So I'm reluctant to go into a meeting with a woman on her own. I'm reluctant to even get into as many others are, by the way. Reluctant to even get into an elevator. No, I shouldn't be. Shouldn't need to be. But when you're in a situation where, because I'm a straight white male, particularly given I'm over the age of sort of mid-40s, which seems to be a particular area they want to go after. You were brought up in the days of the evil Nazi patriarchy, that sort of thing. So I'm very mindful that all straight white males are effectively Hitler, and that sort of use of language and the use of imagery, ideological perception has all been weaponized against straight white males. Now, there's feminist groups everywhere are saying, well, the amount of rapes of women is at all-time highs. The amount of sexual harassment at work is at all-time highs. And so this is all lies. This has all been invented, or the definition of misogyny has been broadened to the point where you didn't say hello with a big enough smile on your face in the morning to Billie Jean. That's it, misogyny, patriarchy, you damn Nazi. So and this is again all part of the weaponization of language and meaning and interpretation and phrasing, and how it's used to weaponize supposed empathy. We're only doing it to protect these women from all these rapes, and said that's the only reason we're doing it. We're the morally superior ones. You can't question us. And that's really the architecture of it all. But it goes to show how the Western world, how insane and fucked up the world is, and how much the globalists have turned the workplace into a no-go zone for sensible people. And that is the major drama here. Giving you a Tacitus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.